What's up, folks? Well, it's hot. It's really hot out there. Iran is going scorched earth, but that doesn't mean it's going to do anything. There's going to be obviously some retaliation strikes on a lot of Western countries, which is happening already. I got the ghost jumping in today, joining me today. I meant to say jumping in to me today to talk about this. So what is going to happen? Sleeper cells are being activated. There's a lot. And the ghost has the intel on that, which I'm going to get into that right now. This is going to be a hell of a show, folks. Hit the notification button, folks. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, Venmo, 𝗬𝗗𝗏 1977. And when you see, Alex isn't with me today, folks. This is difficult to do without Alex. I meant to say he's not with me. He's on a drive. He's going cross country. He's moving. So he's off today and Wednesday. I think I'll have him back Friday, but for sure the next Monday. So he might be off this entire week, but he's doing a long cross-country drive. So wish him luck, and I'll see him on Monday or at the earliest Friday. So Venmo, 𝗬𝗗𝗏 1977. When the lights go out on Amazon, please leave it on his review. And my mama's book, The Mexican Mix. And folks, don't forget your Noble Gold. Noble Gold, your 401k is the number on a screen. One click, one crash, and it's gone. Gold is different. You can hold it, hide it, pass it down. For nearly a decade, Noble Gold Investments has helped investors like you protect their savings and their future with physical gold and silver. You need to be doing that right now. If you're starting to second guess yourself and the safety of your portfolio, now's the time to act. Nobody really knows where this is going. You know, you hear Juan on my shows, the ghost, different people telling you better get gold and silver. You know, I mess around with crypto here and there, but I'm all in on gold and silver. Download your free wealth protection kit at noblegoldinvestments.com. Noblegoldinvestments.com, folks. Get over there, get started, and protect your wealth. That's what you should do. Also, X is Nino Boxer, patriotwear.com, folks. Bing right there. Also, Ringside with Nino this month is the 11th, Wednesday the 11th. And I'm hearing this entire month going into summer, it's going to get crazy. So protect yourself out there, folks. Be aware of your surroundings. Avoid heavy populated areas. I would say cells are going to be activated. Now, not just Iran. We're also looking at cartels. So there's special forces, from my understanding right now, that are down there taking some of the patrons and the jefes down, from my understanding, that we are in Mexico. And I'm going to talk to Ghost about that even more. Nino's Corner.tv. I had Stuart Swerdlow coming on today at 11 a.m. That's going to be pre-recorded. I also have Brad Olson, the Ghost, coming back on, SG Anon, and 𝗀𝗏, folks, all coming on. So right now there's a lot on there. There's a lot to pick and choose from. I'm going to be putting some better podcasts on there. The Ringside with Nino is always a blast. That's twice a month. And then you got the general tent once a month. And then you got your pick of any video you want to see, extra content, the best content. We are the news before the news. We're not just guessing. We're not just guessing. We are ahead of the ball time and time again. Folks, and without further ado, baby, you might want to turn it down or turn it up. Yeah. Here we go, folks. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Yeah. Hey, folks, what about this guy? Alexis Stone, I think his name is, has just come out and said he was the imposter for Jim Carrey. I don't know if you guys have seen this. He says he's the one that wore the mask, wore the dentures, and it makes you think, you know, all this Joe Biden stuff. Yeah, you know, a lot of people think, I don't believe in that stuff. Well, folks, this Alexis Stone guy on Instagram has come out and said he was the one that wore the mask, that did all that played Jim Carrey, that pretended to be Jim Carrey at the awards. I think they were called the Caesar Awards in France. So pretty crazy stuff. The internet went wild. It broke the internet, but now he's come out and said, I think he does this quite often. So, not a far-fetch anymore about Joe Biden. Not at all. We all know that doesn't look like Joe Biden, doesn't walk like Joe Biden. I've never seen someone fall up the stairs and then bounce up again. That was a pretty athletic fall, if you ask me. So there you go, folks. People wear masks. And, you know, 𝗵𝗂𝗶𝗹 has told me this so many times. He said, Dave, you don't understand. Mel Gibson can put on a mask in a bathroom, come out a different person. I'm like, are you serious? And the wrinkles, it looks like you can perspire. The whole thing is insane. So I believe it. So I don't know how much these masks are. They're probably, I would imagine, $50,000 range, $100,000 range, who knows? But they're elaborate. And you can be anybody. You can pretend to be anybody walking down the street. Folks, we are living in the craziest times ever in humanity. This is the Twilight Zone. I mean, we are now in a world of AI. People can be other people. You can wear masks. Insanity. Absolute insanity. And everything now is happening so fast. I can't even wait to see where we are, not just in 20 years, in 2 years. Everything's going to be different. And 𝗬𝗏 said, and I guess we could chalk this up as a win for him too. What's his record now? 2-1? I guess we can go to 3-1 maybe. He said the world would be vastly different by March. And I have to say, it's March and it's vastly different, isn't it? So here we are. So I guess he's can we say he's 3-1? Let me know if you give him the win on that one. Or draw maybe. I don't know. But all right, folks. Iran is now going scorched earth. If they can't hit America directly, they will wage 𝗔𝗯𝗶𝗶𝗹 on the entire Western world. And it is any easy Western target worldwide. Anything to cripple the world economy and hurt Western civilization. You're going to get a lot in these next few episodes. So this might be a very hard pill to swallow for a lot of you, not my Trump supporters, but people that might just be tuning in. If you're a liberal or on the fence, you just don't know what you are. You just don't know what you are. But this may be a hard pill to swallow, but keep a few things in mind. Iran was going to be activated to begin World War III no matter what. That was coming no matter what. That was in the plans. That was in the globalist agenda. They were planning to do this. We're literally getting ahead of the ball and squashing the threat while we have the president, President Trump, the generals, and the military to do so. Everyone's on the same page. That's why that summoning of the generals was so vastly important. It may not seem like it now, but we are avoiding the actual. Why can't I talk today? Am I having like mini strokes or something? We're avoiding the actual apocalypse. Also, remember who gave hundreds of billions of dollars. Who gave the hundreds of billions of dollars of cash pallets to Iran? All roads lead to Obama, folks. All roads lead to Obama. And remember, let's also remember who brought in, I don't know, millions of unvetted immigrants, hundreds and thousands of Muslim foot soldiers. Not just Biden, folks, but Obama. Obama was the first with the big wave, the big push of the those ones, those type right there. He brought those in. But you can't say anything about it because you'll be an Islamophobe. You cannot say nothing about it. See how they do this? You're watching a president who has big balls, folks. That's President Trump rolling up his sleeves to do the dirty work after decades of deep state planning to take down this beautiful country. This was a plan. They had architects building out this plan to surgically implode us, to destroy us forever. And now they're at the final point right now, folks. And it looks like it's going to be chaos. And I'm hearing that a lot of cells will be activated. I think already there should have been a lot more. So hopefully we've neutralized a lot of the threats. I'm going to bring Ghost on to talk about this. But it looks to me like it should be a lot wilder and wackier right now, and it's not. So, Ghost, I'm going to bring you on. Oh, I got to do this myself. What do you know? Ghost, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you?
Like
Good
my little
morning.
spill. You know, I haven't had enough coffee yet.
Okay. Yeah, I heard you fumbling your words earlier before the show. So
Okay, yeah, I'm letting you. Hey, yo, that's for the punches to the head. Hey, so all right, man. So let's get into this. So, Defiant Khomeini, loyalists blast Trump's delusional fantasy as he warns U.S. we will not negotiate. They're not going to negotiate. They're not going to come to the table. They're saying that this veteran power broker loyal to Iran's slain supreme leader has ripped Trump's delusional fantasies and warned the U.S. that he is not willing to negotiate. An ally of Ayatollah Khomeini delivered the blunt message on Sunday after announcing the formation of the provisional governing structure within hours of the airstrike that killed the supreme leader. I guess his name is 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝗹, accused the United States and Israel of seeking to plunder and disintegrate Iran and warned so-called secessionist groups within his country. They are not backing down, and they're going all in. And look, they're hitting Dubai. They're hitting all the areas close to them, right, with missiles and bombs and drones. So what is going on here? How long is this going to last?
I think we're going to have probably 3 weeks or less of intense. I know the next 7 days is going to be intense, but I would say 3 weeks or less before it really tones down. Is it under control? Militarily, yes. It's working brilliantly. But you always have to keep in mind in these situations, there will be things coming out of left and right field that you are not expecting. They've been hitting everyone but targeting us. They've been targeting us and firing at us, yes, absolutely. But they've also been hitting everyone else to stir shit up in the region and to try to gain a sentiment. And it's very primitive in their thinking to even think this way, to gain a sentiment that would grow against what we're doing. That's not going to happen. Everyone in the region knows why this is being done.
Here's the 14 countries that they've hit. 14 countries in one night. Here's what happened to each. In Israel, 9 dead. Be Shemesh flattened by ballistic missiles. UAE, I'm going to have trouble saying these words. Burj Al Arab on fire. Abu Dhabi airport, 1 dead, 7 injured. Dubai airport concourse hit, 4 wounded. Flights in chaos. I've heard tourists are sheltering in place. Bahrain, U.S. Navy 5th Fleet headquarters, massive fire, black smoke visible for miles. Bahrain again, stray missile hit an apartment block full of civilians. Kuwait airport terminal struck. Man, this is like they're waging war on everybody. Qatar, Udeid air base hit, the largest U.S. air base in Middle East. Saudi Arabia, Riyadh explosions at night. Saudi prince secretly asked Trump to bomb Iran first. Washington Post says Jordan, ballistic missiles intercepted, burning debris remain in civilian areas. Iraq, U.S. military bases across the country targeted. Oman, struck by Iranian missiles. Syria, targeted in the wave. Cyprus, RAF, UK base directly hit by Iran. UK, NATO's allies military base attacked for the first time. France, Camp de Libye in UAE struck. And in Italy, NATO camp Al-Salam, Kuwait bombed. I mean, this is crazy. Oil is up 13% in 1 day to $82 a barrel. Gold surging past 5,000.
Yeah, the money grubbers are going to take advantage of this. So I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead and continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, the Strait of Hamas disrupted. 20% of world's oil flows through it. Flights suspended across the Gulf. 170 ballistic missiles fired in 24 hours. The Saudi prince asked the U.S. to start this war. Iran made sure everyone around him paid the price. So it's like they're going scorched earth.
Think of Hitler at the end of the war, where he was basically, well, the German people don't deserve this, so we're going to let them destroy everything, and we're going to go down in flames. This is their thinking. Again, tyrannical thinking doesn't change or ever go away. If at any time in history we have more Hitlers on this planet, there's a whole bunch of them over there in Iran, obviously, but it's a very, very small percentage. The people there are elated. And what I find really ironic in these days is that over there they're dancing in the streets praising Uncle Trump. Here, these morons who've never suffered a real suffering day in their life
hold on. I've heard it's mixed in Iran. I've heard there's people that are
it is,
and then there's people celebrating. And here in America, a lot of people are protesting.
Well, the protesters here already, it's plain and simple. There's nothing I can even comment on them to show them how stupid they are. You can't fix stupid. You can't reason with it. You can't talk with it even. But the bottom line, what I want, before I say anything else, understand we're at DEFCON 2, and that's just a normal, it's not normal, but it's a normal course of procedure for what's going on. Basically letting the rest of the world know we're not vulnerable. Don't try anything, let's say, extra sensory or extra.
So what is, when you say DEFCON 2, can you explain what DEFCON 2 is?
Well, DEFCON 1 is war. You're at war. DEFCON 2 puts all of the forces on a readiness status, all the way down to where you're not supposed to go 30 minutes away from your base or duty section. You're supposed to remain within.
Right now in America, the whole world is on lockdown. Like you can't.
It's not lockdown. No, it's not lockdown, but it's be prepared for anything. And they used to call it cocked trigger and different euphemisms for it. But it's DEFCON 4 is always normal, A-OK, business as usual. 3 is heightened alert. 2 is cocked trigger. In other words, on guard for anything, be ready to be deployed. Any number of things that go along with DEFCON 2. DEFCON 1 means you are at a war footing and engaged in war. Or technically, we are doing a special military action. And he has 60 days that gets into complexities and people like to argue about it, but it's very simple. We are at a state of emergency. We always have been since 33. That was never rescinded. And that's what's given the executive branch all these powers that were to be used against the American population at a given time. All of that has changed. And people need to understand what's happening in Iran, you will see, is tied to Ukraine, Venezuela, and several other countries that are in the domino cards to deck to fall. And some of them are starting to roll in that direction without the need for, let's say, harsh military intervention or a rapid action such as Venezuela or a series of actions. So what this is where we are right now.
So we know that, I know that the raids happened because we had to neutralize their foot soldiers here in America, and that's why these wild, crazy-eyed protesters that got out there, it's so shameful, you know, because basically so shameful for them to get out there and interrupt these ICE raids and what they were trying to do. So when people they don't understand the full picture here. So the full picture is these people were going to be activated at such a time as this. So all Trump is doing is getting ahead of the ball, neutralizing threats, but he had to do the big raids first, right, Ghost, to take down the most dangerous players in the country. So they do not pose a threat for when we go into military action in Venezuela, Mexico, Iran, and so on and so forth, correct?
Exactly. You'll see there's individuals out there. One that always comes to mind is Sarah Adams. Super bad. She's credited with tracking a number of very high profile terrorists in the past for the CIA. She's out there doing a very good job in educating people as to the seriousness of all of this. That we do have, it was estimated, I remember I told you 30 to 40,000 a long time ago were considered dangerous. Well,
but there's millions here. I mean, there's millions.
Yeah, but I'm saying 30 to 40,000 highly trained here to do that kind of thing.
So why are they down to 1,000, then to 10. Why aren't they activated right now? Why aren't they? Are they waiting for the right time, or what's going on?
I would say a number of them are afraid of being neutralized, and while they're here, they can fudge that. They don't have to answer to anyone directly yet, if that ever happens for them. Others, make no mistake, what happened in Austin, yes, is confirmed terrorist tied directly to Iran.
Let me just say something on that. Let me just say something on that. So
yeah.
Austin, Texas, the bar that I've frequented many times back in my drinking days, sat in those exact chairs where those people were shot. It hit me pretty hard. It hit a lot of my friends hard too. I don't know how, to me, how that bar is ever going to bounce back. I would imagine it's going to close. That was horrific. I don't know if people saw the footage or the pictures of that bar shooting, but it's really a hot time, and people that are like, oh, screw it, I'm going to go to Mexico, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there. You really got to think twice about everything now, because we are in the hottest situation, I believe, America has ever been. What do you think, Ghost?
It's as hot as it gets. And everyone needs to be vigilant, and especially in urban areas, the northeastern, north central part of the country, basically in every city. Because I had said this months before it happened, the last quarter of last year, when they picked up those first 13, what were they? Iranian terrorists. 13 miles up the road from me. And it's rural here. It's rural where I am. So I was telling people, you remember this, I was telling people they are everywhere. Don't think because you're living in a very rural or sparsely populated area of any state that you're in the clear with this. Police have been on notice.
You just took out their supreme leader. So this is like, so every radical Muslim out there, even the wild cards, even the ones that are at home that don't have that were not given any specific or special orders, might flip a lid and go out and decide to shoot up a mall. You know what I mean? Like, this is how crazy of a time we're living in right now. In fact, How do you explain Dubai? I mean, everyone goes to Dubai. I know so many people going to Dubai. I've never been there. I've been wanting to go, but so many people go to Dubai to relax, enjoy their vacation. And reports are now emerging that U.S. Air Force personnel are being evacuated from Dubai with multiple fighter jets, helicopters, and transport aircraft seen operating over the city. Movements of this scale do not happen without reason. Tourists are being told to shelter in place. When military assets reposition rapidly, it signals the commanders that they believe a threat environment is changing and potentially escalating. So Dubai sits at the crossroads of the global commerce, energy routes, and regional security. Any shift there carries international consequences, folks. The situation is developing fast. So they're basically going after all Western civilization.
Exactly. They're lashing out. And you have a cornered rabid dog here. Expect anything. Now, I'm not trying to spread fear porn. We are in a state of nationally, there's a national alert on for all of this. I'm not doing fear porn. I'm keeping it very direct and simple. What's that?
Stop saying that.
Oh, okay.
Just the YouTube, man. Just please.
All right. I didn't know if that would be
it's just ridiculous.
No. Okay, but keep your heads on a swivel, because it only serves you and everyone in the country, everywhere. This is common sense at this point, and most people should realize that. We've lost several personnel. 3, I believe, was last. It is good that we don't have CNN and MSNBC and all of these idiots embedded with anything any further than they are reporting right now on locations, because they just make a mess of it. And this is something that's serious. This isn't globalist theater. This is anti-globalist reality. Not theater, reality. And yes, this action is heading off. Let's say what other nations, China being the main one, as a peer level proxy to these sovereign layer people, entities, let's say, everything is being countered ahead of time. And you will see how all of this is connected to voting, operations like Epstein Island and others, all of it. This will be coming out. It is coming out. You can do the math very easily now. Most people can do that. It doesn't have to be broken down for you. These were all degradation operations, again, to control and bring our country, especially first and foremost, to its knees. The only thing that has kept that from happening is a lot of good people in the background, in the shadows, and people that are being made and educating themselves, following people like you and others that are putting this information out there and having people like myself and others.
Just to give an idea on how crazy these people are, how fanatical and upset these people are. 22 people killed in Pakistan as protesters try to storm the U.S. consulate. So violent clashes between protesters and security forces in Pakistan's southern port city of Karachi, I guess that's how you say it. And then in the country's north left, at least 22 people dead and more than 120 others injured as demonstrators supportive of the Iranian government attempted to storm the U.S. consulate on Sunday, authorities said. In the north of the country, demonstrators attacked UN and government offices. The violence came after the United States and Israel attacked Iran, killing its supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. So this is, I mean, they're losing their damn minds.
And
I'm really surprised not more has happened in the United States. And obviously, there's more to come. They're giving, Hegseth is putting out warnings, special service announcements. I don't know.
Well, these sleepers here they're calculated. Remember that. It's not going to be, well, they've done what we expected to happen, so now I'm going to run out and do it. They're not going to do it that way. If they're going to coordinate, it's going to be in, I would say we're in that zone where we may see anything from coordinated attacks all at one time in various geographical areas, or a larger event in one or two areas. In other words, don't take anything for granted. Anything can happen anywhere at any time.
Right. Iran hit the Israel's desalination plant. They have no water, is what I'm hearing. Iran state TV has reportedly been hacked and is showing a message from President Trump calling on Iranians to rise up against the regime. I mean, he's going all in. He's going all in. Iranian sleeper cells have infiltrated the U.S. Now, ex-FBI warns of imminent terror attacks on American soil. So the FBI boss here, 𝗏𝗏 is warning that attacks on American soil are imminent and exactly how they will strike. So they're saying that without a doubt this will happen.
They're going to hit. It's just where and when and how. And you know, a lot has been foiled already. But again, everybody wants to know everything, and that's just not wise. Not now. If everyone knows everything, then everyone in the world knows everything, including Iran. And what's left of their command and control structure, which is in tatters right now. And then you have a number of them. They've divided the country up into regions of command and control, and they're acting autonomously. Some are wanting to lay down arms. These are professional military, not IRGC, mind you. Some are wanting right now, discussion to lay down arms. So in other words, there would be huge swaths of that country, which is 2.5 times the size of Texas. Think of Alaska and Texas together. That's the landmass we're dealing with here. Large swaths.
Aren't we sending Qatar?
Put down arms. We're safe.
Are we sending Qatar F-36s? Aren't we sending them fighter jets right now?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to pony up on everything this morning yet, from everything that's been sent to me and otherwise. But it didn't surprise me when they took a shot at that tallest building in the world. I keep forgetting its name.
Oh, the Dubai Hotel.
And they struck that one hit right in the 𝗬𝗂𝗶𝗱 area. I've noticed that one particular drone they're using, it reaches its target through GPS coordinates and then just dives. It seems to dive at the foot of it rather than doing maximum damage, but that's okay. If it's going to get through, you'd rather do it not hit squarely on than hitting at the base of it. It's reprehensible the way these people are. And if anyone needs any proof as to what both the United States and Israel and other countries have been saying about Iran all this time, here it is. Here it is. It's obvious.
Yeah,
Were they close to a nuclear warhead? More than close. I'll say that. More than close. Because
imagine what they would be doing if they had the nuclear. They're showing their ass right now. If they had the nuclear capabilities, that's why we struck their nuclear. Now you know, folks. That's why this was very strategic. We struck their nuclear facility first, because if they had that, they'd be nuking all of Western civilization right now. They're showing how unhinged they really are. And when they mean jihad, they mean jihad, okay? That's what they're doing right now. The fact that if they would have had those nukes, Ghost, they'd be nuking everything.
They would have used them. They would have used them. And they did, here's the scary part, they did squirrel away uranium enriched above the 60% point, 235, in different areas in the country. So they have the capability to construct a warhead. We didn't even test the little boy warhead that we dropped first on Hiroshima, because all the math and all the probabilities were, yes, using a gun barrel, taking one mass of uranium and firing in that bored out 105 millimeter gun barrel into a sphere of enriched 235, 63% above. Yes, it's going to go to critical mass. You're going to get a somewhat dirty but nuclear reaction nonetheless of fission. That man that was dropped on Nagasaki, we tested one of those first. That's what we tested, because that is a whole different material and handling and detonation method. It's a sphere of plutonium, like a softball size, say, grapefruit, in an encasing of beryllium to keep it from oxidizing, because it does oxidize rapidly. And then spherically, 360 degrees, having a perfectly timed spherical implosion detonation that then smashes that sphere on every single point equally, that it does reach critical mass, and it's a much more powerful yield per kilogram and a much cleaner detonating device. So they didn't have that capability, but they did have Hiroshima little boy capability. Now,
so do you believe that we will have to, if Iran keeps acting out the way they are, will we use nukes on them or tactical nukes on them?
I don't think we're going to, we don't need to pull that out unless something were utilized, say, against one of the carrier task force. Then I could see in kind it being returned, but in a very judicious location to hurt them most militarily, with doing the least amount of damage. But would I give that a probability? No. We might even show restraint in that, if it were, and just pile on the conventional kinetic attacks, as we've been doing. This has been planned out for, there's an ongoing war plan for every country on the planet, believe it or not, even Canada.
All right, let me take a commercial break here just for a second, folks.
Sure.
If you find yourself in a situation where you got to run fast, you don't want to be fat. You don't want to be fat. We've all seen the headlines about those miracle weight loss shots, but the 2026 data is officially in, and it's a wake-up call. A major analysis revealed that once people stop taking the injections, they regain an average of 60% of their weight back within a year. Even worse, most of that gain is pure fat, but the muscle they lost stays gone, leaving them with a crashed metabolism and a body that's functionally older than when they started. That's why I'm obsessed with today's sponsor, GLP-1 Elevate. Instead of using needles to override my system, it uses clinically studied plant-based ingredients like 𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗶 to help my body naturally boost its hunger control signals. I get the same fullness and fewer cravings, but without the scary side effects or metabolic metabolic rebound. Jeez, what's wrong with me today? If you want to support your goals while protecting your muscle, keep the results for good, go to Trim with Nino, folks. Get 50% off the GLP-1 Elevate right now. The link is down there at the bottom. Get started on it. I tell you what, I'm having a hard time today, Ghost. I don't know what it is.
I think everybody is today.
I'm like, dude, I woke up like, I'm like, hey, yo, the punches to the head really took effect today. Global energy shock. Iran strikes Saudi oil heartland. One of the most important oil facilities on the planet, Saudi Arabia's Ras Tanur refinery, has reportedly been hit. Fires, shutdowns, export disruption. This isn't just another strike. This is an attack on the world's energy lifeline. Jeez, man. They're going to keep going all in. That's why I'm asking. I can see tactical nukes being used. I mean, if we got to take them out, I mean, they're exposing themselves to the fullest degree right now.
They are, and it's not going to last that long. It's every day it continues. Obviously, is traumatic for a lot of people in that region. But I would say, conservatively, in 2 to 3 weeks, we should have subdued most of those threats. And this is a very fluid situation, and it's going to be play by ear, even following all of this. I was hoping that the population of Iran, they're like anywhere else. You're going to have those who understand what's going on, who wanted what's going on, and that's the majority. That is well over 50%. So yes, you're going to hear the reports of the naysayers and the equivalents of the soy latte libs there. But they're in the opposite direction. They're absolutely fanatical morons who would follow this regime, who made their living off this regime. But you've had a lot of defectors. It was not a difficult task in getting a lot of human intel out of Iran for Mossad or CIA or a number of other agencies, which are all, despite the posture of Britain and France, they are helping on other levels. Let's just say that.
You know, I'm not so much worried about a nuke going off. I know we've had nuke sniffers out, especially when Trump was getting sworn in. There was those drones that were doing the nuke sniffing, but I'm worried about an EMP. I'm worried about something like that hitting our power grid and just knocking the lights out. I mean, is that what that messaging board 17 always talked about? I mean, is that what we're looking? I mean, could that happen soon? Because that seems like the most logical thing. And now even China is saying, hey, cool your jets, or we're going to get involved. I mean, this is really.
Yeah, but China again, yes, they have to be watched carefully. But understand this, since the 1st of January, 3 major banks have failed. There's a region in the northeastern part of the country in Manchuria where 11 million plus people have vacated living in various cities because of economic downturns. We're shifting manufacturing back to this continent, U.S. mainly, for the cleaner, higher tech devices such as high-grade chips that were not manufactured in China but in Taiwan. You can't take the chance of Taiwan falling or them making a move on them in the interim. That's more likely for them to take advantage of the situation and bluster by doing that than it is to actually join in. They did provide weapon systems, but we did to them what we did to them in Venezuela. And that's some really amazing technology that they're using. They're basically blinded, and they've been, other than ground radio in the basic spectrums, they've been denied communications for the most part. Internet, telecom, you name it, military especially. So again, what you're going to hear from these idiots that are leftovers and laggards within the regime is a lot of the same blustering and BS, but you can't, again, take anything for granted. You have to be prepared for any contingency. China getting involved, they're worried about their oil supply because they received a good percentage of their oil from Iran, from those ports. Uh, our objective is not to necessarily tie China's hands, but let them know they can be tied. And they're going to naturally respond to that.
You know, like 𝗏𝗏 has told me, you've told me, and SGN and others, now's the time to go in after them and stop them before they get started, basically, because the globalists had a plan all along to use Iran.
Exactly.
That's why Obama was giving them those billions of dollars cash on pallets. That's why Biden was letting him in at the border, the legal invasion, if you want to call it, however you want to call it. But it was all happening because the whole plan was to take down America and start a war with Iran while they infiltrate us and invade us with sleeper cells to take down America at the right time, take down our infrastructure. That was the plan, correct?
That was the plan.
And that is why Trump is moving right now. Yes, and that's why Trump is. People need to understand this. That is why Trump is going in for the move right now. I see a lot of podcasters and people on social media like, he's starting World War III. He's doing this. He's doing that. No, he's getting ahead of the ball. He's neutralizing World War III. Correct, Ghost?
Exactly. Think about this. Here, I'll give you some data points in the audience, some data points to consider. When he came into office, talk was about the F-47, correct?
Right.
The F-47, long combat radius. Everything in the Pacific is over the horizon. So you have China that's been building islands, creating islands out of nowhere in more geologically favorable conditions in the South China Sea and expanding into other areas in Southeast Asia and the South Pacific specifically. Why? They want their Belt and Road to go through South America, Africa, and exactly where this is going on in the Middle East. Now, Iran would have been a willing partner to that. Pakistan has not been. Now I'm pretty much assured that Iran will not be. They're going to want to align with the West and specifically us. And that's a good thing because they are a highly educated population. They are, yes, they're diverse. There's a number of ethnic groups there, but they all share the same sentiment, the majority of them. So don't let the naysayers pump the minorities' words of 5–10% out compared to 85–90% who know this is a good thing for them. They've wanted this. I remember when they first fell when I was a kid in the late 70s, 79, and the hostage taking and all of that, and all that's a whole different story. But it's led up to now a very educated, very intelligent population of people that they don't want it anymore. And there's 90 million in that country. 90 million.
90 million in Iran, huh?
They want prosperity. They want to rejoin the West, but better than before. The mistakes the Shah made, which galvanized a common mission between the socialist, communist, atheists there and the radical Islamists that have been created since the 1920s, thanks to old Soviet Union tactics in weaponizing the Quran. You had that largely external group, internal from birth, a lot of them, but external in their primitive thinking that there was going to be an Islamist state. Well, they got away with it. What did the president say? He said 7 presidents prior didn't do anything because they were all political animals. They were worried about the next election. They were worried about the party. They were worried about the globalist agenda. They were all serving it. Make no mistake. All of them, except this man. This is what you tried to tell people from 16 on, no, this is what's happening. You've got to have the background knowledge to understand that. But nobody would listen. They're listening. You're proof positive, your audience and others, that they are listening.
So I said, a long time ago that this would be the year of action, 2026. I said that coming into 2026. I go, this is going to be it. This is when we roll up our sleeves. But what about this, Ghost? I wanted to talk about this for a second. Gitmo's expanding after threats are neutralized, expect public arrests. Juanito has said that Brennan looks to be um, arrested first. So we're going to go through Brennan. That'll lead to Obama, but Hillary could be October. But Guantanamo Bay just expanded, and it's not for terrorists. You weren't supposed to notice on February 7th, 2026, the Pentagon approved $500 million for emergency. More, remember, folks, they've been adding on, but even more emergency construction at Guantanamo Bay, not renovation, expansion. Let me tell you what they're doing here. 89 new holding cells, 3 new courtrooms, a medical wing. Remember, Juan's always talked about that, geriatric ward, and a communications blackout facility that didn't exist before. For 20 years, they told you Gitmo was winding down. Obama tried to close it. Now you know why they tried to close it. Biden forgot it even existed. Trump just tripled its capacity. The question is, who is it for? The tribunals have started January 15th, 2026. Trump signed Executive Order 14189, reactivating military tribunal authority for civilian cases involving national security. The media didn't cover it. Not one headline, of course they do, but you got it here, folks. This means civilians can now be tried by military courts if their crimes involve treason, trafficking, or espionage. It's getting serious. No jury, no plea bargains, no 10-year appeals. Military justice, military speed. So,
exactly,
what's going on in Gitmo?
You had in his first term, you had I think around 680 million in improvements and upgrades. This is basically putting what's finally needed in place, and that wasn't put in place for a reason over the interim 4 years. Yes, it will be not only military, but at some, depending on the offenders, you're talking crimes against humanity, so you're going to have other nations involved. And people will see just how close not only this country, but the world came to having a very dark future. And I just want to say
thank you to everyone that's giving on the super chats. Alex isn't here, but I see him scrolling by. I want to say thank you to everyone on the super chats. I really appreciate that. Also, Ghost, China is demanding immediate ceasefire following U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran, warns against further escalation. China says the U.S. is a war addict, and throughout its over 240-year history, it has been at war for all but 16 years. They say the U.S. is the main cause of international disorder, global turbulence, and regional instability. The U.S. has 800 overseas military bases in more than 80 countries and regions. So what they're saying,
say to China, that's nice.
Yeah, but this is going to lead to the 2020. They know that. That's what's coming next.
That's nice, China. But why don't you talk about how many people have died in your country because of the state? From the beginning, we're talking over 100 million. So let's not cast stones here. When you don't even live in a glass house, you live in an open air house. So that's nice, China, but shut up. That's basically the attitude. Yeah, shut up. I want some rice. But,
great. But I mean, so I know it's heating up. I know you want to go back to the back channel after this, or later on today, or even tomorrow. I got Stuart Swirlow on next. He's bringing in some intel people. They're going to be doing a show. We're doing it at 11 a.m. That'll be on .tv, folks, and then another version of it will be on YouTube. But Ghost, you want to hit Nino's Corner .tv?
Sure, let's do it again.
All right. I want to talk to you about this, though. The Tim Dillon, Peter Thiel, and Sam Altman are summoning ancient Sumerian demons with AI. It's a demonic force that's going to take form through artificial intelligence. I believe this is coming. I think the deep state is, well, hold on. I think the deep state's like, you know what? Yeah, arrest us. We'll give up some of our own. Not a problem at all. You're still getting the AI. You will still get it. That's what I see happening here. I mean, this is real, man. This is moving so lightning speed fast, we can't even keep up. Nobody can keep up. So I want to talk to you about AI. You know, they were actually summoning an ancient Sumerian demon that's going to be in control of AI. Is that happening? Will you talk about it with me on Nino's Corner.tv?
Sure. Yeah,
All right, you
that's
want
a
to stick
that's a
around
good
and hear
one.
some what the fuck news?
Sure.
In what
At
the
the,
fuck news? In what the
right
fuck news? Lab
at the
grown
end,
brain growing more powerful. Back in 1907, American biologist Henry Van Peters Wilson discovered that sponges will reform into living creatures after their cells are broken apart through a fine mesh screen, demonstrating that cells are living organisms contained something telling them how to build complex multicellular structures. Researchers dined out this for decades, and their subsequent discoveries led to the isolation of pluripotent cells, master cells, that can divide endlessly and become any type of cell in the body. First from mouse embryos in 1981 to human embryos in 1998. Lab-grown brains finally came onto the scene in 2013 when a team of scientists led by Madeleine Lancaster created the first brain organoid in a tiny three-dimensional cell culture mimicking the human brain. These mini brains made out of stem cells contain real neurons, thus allowing researchers to study brain development, model neurological diseases, and test drugs before human trials. As you might have guessed, the practice is not without controversy. Now, add AI into this. This is getting, folks, I'm telling you, soon you're going to be able to go to the doctor, an AI doctor, and they're going to three-dimensionally print your organs, your arms, everything. But you're going to have a chip to play the game. Now, scientists at the University of California, Santa Cruz are taking lab-grown mini brains into their toddler era. After demonstrating that brain organoids can process information in real time, in a remarkable breakthrough published in the journal Cell Reports, researchers were able to effectively coach lab-grown brains into solving the 𝗏𝗏 problem. The 𝗏𝗏 problem is an engineering benchmark used in robotics, artificial intelligence, what did I say, and now cognitive science to measure how effective systems are at processing information. This is scary, Ghost. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, I love scientific breakthroughs and advancements, but I know there's for every good 99% good, there's that 1% strychnine. And this is the shit. This is how they're going to put. See, it's not about AI outpacing us, beating us, or anything like that. It's about us merging with AI, merging into the B system. Transhumanism, right, Ghost?
Yeah, and what I'm going to say this. No one ever said the struggle between light and dark would end just because certain milestones were reached that will improve lives, improve the peace of this planet. There is always going to be that, let's say that that insertion or aspect of evil, or in everything is a two-edged sword. Can't say that enough. So with all of the amazing breakthroughs in growing neural tissue or brain structures, there is always a downside to its application. That's where all need to be educating themselves on these things as much as you can.
My parents could use it right now with their dementia. My gosh.
There could be so many wonderful breakthroughs, and there are in the works that could help people like your parents, no doubt. But again, we have to shed certain older systems of command and control that are vestigial. They're no longer necessary. And they don't serve a purpose other than to maintain an aspect of a power structure that wants to remain in power. Even all of that has to be rethought, reapproached, and reapplied. So this is very dangerous territory, yes. But no one ever said that light and dark, whatever that battle would end, would light get a leg up finally, that it would be advantageous to humanity? Absolutely. And that's what this war has been all about to this point. And you're seeing kinetic expressions of it in the form of Iran and Ukraine and Venezuela. And we're going to see other countries rolling over softer.
Here's my prediction. We take down everybody. We take them all down. Mass arrests happen, and then everything is replaced in a matter of time with AI. And we have an AI government. I'm telling you, that's where we're headed. Ghost, I'll see you on ninoscorner.tv. And folks, that's it today. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the black sheep of broadcasting.